Contract law in ancient Babylon. Contract law in ancient Babylon, particularly during the reign of King Hammurabi, circa 1792–1750 before Common Era, is one of the earliest and most detailed examples of legal regulation of contracts. The Code of Hammurabi, a comprehensive set of laws inscribed on a stele, provides significant insight into how contracts were formed, executed, and enforced in ancient Babylonian society. This legal code covered various aspects of daily life, including commerce, marriage, labor, and property rights, reflecting the complexity and sophistication of Babylonian legal practices. Key features of Babylonian contract law. Written contracts. Babylonians used clay tablets for writing contracts, which were then sealed by the parties involved. These tablets detailed the terms of the agreement and were preserved as legal documents, evidencing the transaction or agreement. Witnesses. The presence of witnesses was crucial for the validity of contracts. Witnesses would often seal the document alongside the contracting parties, providing additional assurance and legitimacy. Role of public officials. Babylonians used clay tablets for writing contracts, which were then sealed by the parties involved. These tablets detailed the terms of the agreement and were preserved as legal documents, evidencing the transaction or agreement. Specific performance and penalties. The Code of Hammurabi specified remedies for breach of contract, including the principle of specific performance, requiring parties to fulfill their contractual obligations, and penalties for failure to do so. Penalties varied depending on the nature of the contract and could include monetary compensation, forfeiture of property, or even physical punishment. Variety of contracts. Contracts in ancient Babylon covered a wide range of transactions, including sales of goods and property, lease agreements, employment contracts, loans, and marriage contracts. This diversity reflects the economic and social complexity of Babylonian society. Examples from the Code of Hammurabi. Sale and purchase contracts. Laws within the code detailed the obligations of sellers and buyers, including provisions for the return of goods and the recovery of purchase prices in certain circumstances. Agricultural leases. The code included regulations for leasing agricultural land and the sharing of harvests between landowners and tenant farmers, with specific penalties for failure to properly cultivate the land or pay the agreed-upon share. Debt and loans. Regulations concerning loans and interest rates were also part of the code, including the consequences of defaulting on debts. There were also provisions for debt relief under certain conditions. Labor contracts. Laws regulated the hiring of labor, setting wages for workers, and penalties for workers who breached their contracts or employers who failed to pay agreed wages. The Code of Hammurabi stands as one of the earliest examples of a legal system that recognized the importance of contracts as the foundation of economic and social order. It emphasized the need for clear terms, mutual consent, and fairness in dealings, principles that remain central to contract law today. The code's detailed provisions for the enforcement of contracts and remedies for breach demonstrate an early understanding of the need for legal frameworks to support economic activity and protect rights within society. The influence of Babylonian contract law extends beyond its historical period, contributing to the development of legal thought and practices in subsequent civilizations. Its emphasis on written documentation, witness verification, and state involvement in contract enforcement are practices that have persisted in various forms throughout legal history.